They lived with wildlife and left a legacy that is preserved here, a legacy comparable to none.
This is the retirement home of George and Joy Adamson, who are conservationists. The intention was that their property would be used as a conservation center and continue to educate students on wildlife and environmental education.
Yes, we are talking about Joy and George Adamson, whose love for wildlife and conservation bore a conservancy that has lived for more than 50 years. That is Elsamere Conservation Center.
The Adamsons, probably more than anybody, graphically showed that humans can live quite peacefully with basically almost any animal.
Walk with us through this 54-acre conservancy and we will show you how this hidden gem is championing conservation.
We have to do better. We have to live more efficiently, more sustainably. We have to understand that nature includes the animals and wildlife. We need to make space for them in our lives.
Animals cannot champion for their cause. They have no parliament where they can present their petitions. They basically rely and depend on us to really speak for them.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Alex Chamwada, and as usual, we begin with our fact sheet segment.
Naivasha is one of the towns in Nakuru County which is located in the Great Rift Valley. The town is 90 kilometers from the capital and is just about 1 hour's drive from Nairobi city. Naivasha Township has a population of about 160,000 according to the 2009 Kenya Population and Housing Census. The name Naivasha is believed to have been crafted from the Maasai word Naivasha, which means rough waters. The town is generally vibrant and is known mostly for flower farming. Flowers from Naivasha are among the main exports from Kenya that find their way to different countries around the world. The town also has a rich history. It served as the first host of an international airport in the early and mid-90s, with planes landing and taking off from Lake Naivasha. At the time, the planes were referred to as flying boats. And when it comes to tourism, Lake Naivasha is arguably the main attraction site. The lake is an ideal destination for tourism activities like bird watching and boat riding. Other tourist destinations include Hell's Gate National Park, Mount Longonot National Park, the Olkaria Geothermal Station, and Lake Oloiden, among others. For the Chamwada Report, my name is Wanjiro Thiongo.
Welcome back. We are at Elsamere Conservation Center in Naivasha, and this is a hidden gem that is championing conservation. Time now to kick off the show with the center's history with Michael Zimanji.
In 1956, Joy and George Adamson decided to adopt a lion cub. The cub was too young to be able to fend for itself and would probably die without the intervention of the Adamsons. This resulted in a beautiful and unique relationship like no other. The cub's name was Elsa.
Joy and George had been living in the country for about 20 years. Joy was an artist, while George was a game warden at Meru National Park. And it is during this time that the Adamsons first met Elsa.
In 1956, there was a lion which was attacking people in Meru. So George Adamson with his group went around looking for this lion. And in the process, they were attacked by another lion, a lioness that was killed. Thereafter, they realized that it had cubs. And when they looked around, they got 3 cubs. And they took these cubs home. It was during that time that Joy felt that she should learn more about lions.
Due to pressure from the government, they were only allowed to keep 1 cub, Elsa, and ferried the other 2 cubs to a zoo in Rotterdam, in Holland.
The whole idea was to raise it up and release it into the wild. They would travel with it, they would have it to the back of the car, and they would travel to Mombasa and, you know, go to the beach and swim with it. They taught it all the systems as a cub, because now it had no other lions and lionesses to teach it how to live in the wild. The Adamsons took that role, and therefore they were able to get it into the wild and slowly introduce it, you know, to be able to hunt for itself. And finally, when it was released, it was able to feed itself, and joined other lions and lionesses in the wild and became wild.
Unfortunately, 5 years later, in 1961, Elsa passed away and was buried at the Adamsons' ranch in Meru. This unusual friendship left a mark in the lives of the Adamsons as well as the entire world. Joy even wrote the book Born Free that sold over 3 million copies worldwide and was even turned into a movie by Columbia Pictures that premiered in 1966.
And the book was translated into 30 different languages. You even have it now, you have it in Hebrew, you have it in Chinese, you have it in Japanese. All the major international languages were captured. In China, the school children, maybe about standard 4 or 5, they have this as a set book.
They eventually bought a 54-acre home in Naivasha and named the place Elsamere after the lioness, and dedicated their lives to wildlife conservation. And this legacy of peaceful coexistence with wildlife lived on even after the passing of Joy in 1980 and George in 1989.
Immediately that happened, the Elsa Conservation Trust, which was already set up, went in to do this work, and that is developing an education sector within this very same compound.
All her properties were willed to a trust. That's how the trust was formed, and that trust is in UK. We have a board which runs Elsamere here in Kenya. So the board and the trust, or the trustees, work together hand in hand.
Yeah, this is the former home of George and Joy Adamson, where they came in 1961. It has been maintained as it was. All the original furniture is inside. The chairs and tables, side cabinets, everything is just as it was when they were here in 1961. Now this is a painting of Elsa, Elsa on a camp bed. This is the famous Elsa, yes, which she had for 5 years. And as you can see, Elsa was very domesticated. And then this one is Penny. This is the last animal that, that Joy had. So Penny was raised here at Elsamere and later taken to Meru National Park where Elsa was and released there. This is the museum. This was the main bedroom, which was later converted into a museum. Accolades that she was able to get. This is what is shown here by the Royal Horticultural Society. She got a Greenfeld medal, gold medal. That is one which came from Vienna. There's plenty to see here. Within the area, you get more than 240 different types of birds. Unlike the hotels whereby maybe you have electric fences and things like that, here, during the day we have monkeys, we have the colobus monkeys, you have varvets, you have baboons. During the night, we have zebras crossing through the compound. We have giraffes, we have eland, we have warthog, we have dik-diks, we have all sorts of animals.
Now, who comes here? I'm told mostly foreigners, especially Americans and Europeans. I had a moment with a group of missionaries from America to find out why they love Elsamere.
Elsamere was introduced to us by our partner that's Kenyan. He's John Migwi. We come to Kenya several times a year, probably 5 or 6 times a year. and we go and do school ministries. We plant churches and train pastors. And anytime we're close, we try to stay here. We like what they're about, and we like the atmosphere here.
I've met people from all over the world. You get visitors from Iceland, you get visitors from even the very small European countries like Liechtenstein and Switzerland and Holland and France and UK, practically everywhere. Even the leaders in United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP. We have had senior guests, even international guests. Whenever they come to visit Naivasha, they would probably arrange and come in for lunch from all over the world.
What's the most popular food here? What is consumed most here at Elsamere?
Wow, our salads are outstanding. They are fresh, and everyone wants more of these salads. Like we've observed, when you go to that buffet, you pick your salad round 1, you can find round 2. We always say, "Chef, we need more coming." And then our pork is also good. Everybody like our pork here. It's done either smoked, either sweet and sour, either the chops. Still good.
All right, we now take a short break. When we return, we will bring you more on the challenges facing conservation and what can be done through the experience of Elsamere Conservation Center here in Naivasha.
Species extinction is happening on a mass scale right now, and those species will simply not be part of the future. That's a huge loss.
Unless we invest in the next generation of leaders, unless we get this knowledge into the minds of the young people, then it might be very difficult really to carry out any meaningful environmental conservation.
Also ahead, join us for a boat ride on the lake. Welcome back. We are at Elsamere Conservation Center in Naivasha, and we've been camping here to understand the center's contribution to conservation. Remember, this was the home of renowned conservationists Joy and George Adamson, whose love for wildlife is a living story. Michael Simanji continues with that story.
Elsamere is famous for its beautiful scenery and simplistic setting. But besides being a scenic place for tourism, Elsamere is also at the forefront of conservation matters. This is evidenced by the various centers which are dedicated to environmental preservation. One such place is the Center for Education in Sustainability.
The center was started between 1990 and 1991, and what we do essentially is to educate the young Kenyans in environmental conservation. Apart from just giving them education and giving them information, we also seek to equip them with the requisite skills and knowledge that will help them be able to conserve environment and to be responsible Kenyans. Basically, when schools come here, we take them through their programs. One after they check in, we basically get them into where they watch the Born Free documentary. We also give them an ecological talk about the Lake Naivasha ecosystem. And sometime we also take them around for a guided nature walk.
What we see up there on the treetops, one type of monkeys around, and we find in Naivasha, but also found in Kenya. We call them the black and white Columbus monkeys. Say that. Black and white. Again.
Black and white Columbus monkeys.
We also take them on Lake Naivasha for a boat ride so that they can see environmental issues around Lake Naivasha and how to really be able to mitigate some of those environmental issues.
This is, however, not the only way the center is championing environmental conservation.
We have several programs based on responding to various environmental issues. We have what we call Forest for the Future. This is where we propagate tree seedlings and we distribute the tree seedlings to the schools. We also run a waste management project where we train the schools in recycling of waste materials. We also have Light Up a Child's Future, which is basically a project on renewable energy. And in this project, we distribute solar lamps, especially to those kids that come from areas where they are not connected to the national grid. And therefore, we seek also to improve their standards of living.
Another way is through providing opportunities for researchers to come and carry out their research work around the lake.
Nowadays, with global warming, we're losing an enormous number of insect species, and this will have a profound effect on environments. Elsamere has done an exceptional job in keeping a fairly large but not huge amount of acreage the way it's been traditionally. So we came today to Elsamere because we knew on Elsamere grounds there were some nice examples of indigenous bush, most of which has been cut down all around the lake. And we hope to catch insects here that we may very well not see anywhere else.
The importance of wild animals in our country.
Each year, the center reaches out to over 15,000 school-going children from all over the East African community. And since its establishment, it has impacted over 300,000 students. But what really is the need for this?
Animals cannot champion for their cause. They have no parliament where they can present their petitions. They basically rely and depend on us to really speak for them and to champion for their cause.
Species extinction is happening on a mass scale right now, and those species will simply not be part of the future. That's a huge loss because animals bring value both to human lives and to the ecosystems they live in. It's estimated by 2050 there will be more plastic pollution in the sea than there are living animals in the sea. That's fairly shocking. But what we've just learned is that some of that plastic loading is actually coming off of our synthetic clothing that we wear. 1/3 of the microfibers, those are micronic pollutants that come off of our apparel, wash out of our urban areas into the watercourse, and they end up in the sea. Those microfibers, we've discovered, are also turning up in drinking water supplies, in urban water taps, and in our own bodies. So it's a bit frightening to think that we're ingesting plastic that we've created to help ourselves, to dress ourselves, to upholster our furniture, and that this is now turning into a major pollutant load for the planet. So Elsamere plays a key role in that. It's a leading environmental education center. School children pass through here every year, and they're taking away valuable lessons that will help them form their lives with a role for wildlife, with a role for natural resources.
And what changes have they observed since the center began?
We have seen a change of attitude, and which is the main thing. You could give people education. You can equip people with skills, but without the change in attitude, all that can be nothing. People are becoming more aware of the need to carry out sustainable practices.
I've learned about the birds. I've seen Colombian monkeys, and I've seen the lake too. And I've also gone to the museum and seen what Joy and Adamson and George Adamson did to protect the wildlife.
In school, students learn about the environment, and more of it is theory. But when they come to the field like this one, or a conservancy like this one, they see things being done practically, so they are able to go back to their schools or their homes and be able to emulate the same.
The children have a role too. We can start by picking up the litter, and we should tell people to stop cutting down trees and we should also like adopt street animals and take care of them.
That is the goal of the Elsamere Conservation Center, to utilize the legacy left by Joy and George in inspiring change and creating awareness of the importance of environmental conservation. Back to you, Alex.
Our adventure at Elsamere continues. Time now to explore what is on the lake. This is South Lake, the southern part of Lake Naivasha. And our tour guide there is Francis Wambua. Tuko tayari Wambua kwenda? Okay, asante.
In this lake, hippos are recorded to be the #1 human killer. Most of the people who are killed by the hippos are the fishermen. Here I've got a piece of fish that sometimes we do the demonstration of feeding the African fish eagle. Just straight up ahead we have a fish eagle on top of a tree.
Thank you, Francis. Imekuwa poa sana.
I've enjoyed going around the lake. Today I've learned so many things, especially the type of birds that are around this area. And the most exciting part was when the kingfisher bird was able to pick fish, feeding the bird. I think I've never seen that.
What an adventure we've had and many lessons learned. The point is, human activities remain the biggest threat to environment and wildlife conservation. Yet we, as human beings and wildlife, can coexist. And we all have a role to play to make the world a better place to live in. That's how we end our show today. On behalf of the entire production team and our broadcasting partner, KTN News, many thanks for watching. But remember, you can watch this show again on our YouTube channel, that is Chams Media Channel. For now, bye-bye, Elsamere.